Alright folks, welcome to another beer review, and this one I'm really intrigued for because I think I've only ever had this beer twice in the whole time that I've been conscientiously trying new beers. So God, we're going back to like the mid 2000s when I first had this, and being relatively new to this whole thing and the world of beer outside of, you know, crappy lager. I remember it being a damn fine ale, and it's a style that I never really drink because I'm not necessarily a fan of the style. I think I've had it once since then, a few years ago. Can't remember what I thought about it. But we're going over to Brooklyn and we're having a look at the Sorachi Ace Saison Ale, brewed with, of course, Sorachi Ace. A bright, citrusy Saison ale built around the unique flavours of its massive or namesake hop, golden and unfiltered. It glows like sunshine in the glass. That was a terrible attempt at reading basic English. So described as crisp, floral and dry. So Brooklyn Brewery. I think this is, don't think it's imported from the US. Let's see, I think it's brewed in, is that Stockholm? No, Sweden. Brewed and canned in Sweden by Brooklyn, Stockholm. So I'm not too sure if this beer's changed over the years, whether it's adapted, or if they still use that same sort of recipe. So yeah, I don't know. I saw it in Tesco's. They had a few new Brooklyn beers, which I'm all for. I like Brooklyn. I've always had an affinity to Brooklyn. I really want to get my hands on Brooklyn Lager again, but most of the shops that used to sell it don't sell it anymore. And I remember that being an experience when I first had it. But yeah, I've got a lot of time for Brooklyn. And I know it's not US Brooklyn brewed. I even like the Brooklyn Pills. I just think that's a nice, satisfying, simple Pilsner. Anyway, so yeah, looking forward to this, especially since my, not disdain or hatred, just my disliking to the style that is a Saison. But I do remember it having a really nice hop character. So we'll see what we get with this. So yeah, taking everything with a pinch of salt with this one. Try not to get caught up in the romanticism, mainly because I can't really remember anything specific from my previous tastings of this beer. But just obviously they changed it up a little bit with the artwork, but the bottle, that was like, had the art style of a playing card. Smart little bottle. I do like a good bottle of beer. I know it's so much better for the beer itself to have it in cans and for the transportation and to retain freshness, but there's something really sort of going into the romanticism, something really satisfying, especially when American beers are making their way here, having an American bottle of beer. There's just something about it. There's just really something about it that I can't put my finger on. Anyway, beer in the glass then, and yeah, it is indeed nice and golden. A little bit of haze in there. Looks a little bit brighter on camera, just because of how the light and the brightness of the screen makes it look for me. But yeah, golden. Very subtle amberish hue to it as well. Head dissipated rather quickly. ABV on this is 7.2% as well. So really interested to get a beer like this in the supermarkets. We're not even going to begin that debate. I got some interesting sounding beers last time I was in Tesco's, because obviously the new beers that come in. So, you know. Anyway, looks good. Let's give it a smell. And it's got that subtly grassy, funky side of it. There's definitely a citrusy element there. And almost like a soft, sweet, tropical aroma. Maybe it's because I always think of subtle coconut flavours when I think of the Sorachi Ace hop, and I'm telling myself that there's a coconut-esque aroma in there as well. But it does smell very, very nice. A little bit of tartness, nice slight maltiness as well. Yeah, smells good. Let's give it a taste. Cheers, everyone. Oh yeah, that's lovely. That is lovely. It's like the subtle characters of it. I mean, I know obviously it's 7.2%, and beers like this of that ABV tend to have a very subtle like harshness to them with the alcohol presence. Without it being boozy, you just know it's got a bit of oomph to it. But this, it's really, really good. You are getting the funkiness there, that farmhouse-ish flavour. But I think, to me, it's satisfying and it's tolerable. If there weren't the other flavours that I'm going to talk about mixing with it, I probably wouldn't find it as satisfying. Can't lie. Finishes a little bit dry. Slight grape-like wine character to it. In fact, yeah, the more I'm thinking about it, I'm getting like a, you know, basic, affordable white wine element. A little bit spritzy. Malts come through. Nice crisp character. There's definitely a citrusiness there. The acidity is satisfying as well, but it's not overly so in terms of its acidic character. And it does have a really satisfying hoppy-ish flavour. You are getting that sweetness. There is a very, very humble and subtle, almost coconut flavour for me. Again, could be just my brain telling me that it's there. But then again, your brain's telling you exactly everything that you know, sense and feel, doesn't it, really? Let's be honest. But yeah, I would happily have this again. This would be perfect. We're getting there with the weather. It's getting nicer. It's staying lighter for longer. A couple of cans of this towards the end of a little bit of an outdoor session would see the night off perfectly. The more I taste it, the more that wine-esque character's coming through. I don't know, could you make like a cocktail with this? Sort of like a Sorachi Ace Aperol Spritz like concoction, maybe. It's got a real summery feel to it. But it's got a refreshing zinginess as well, which I do like. I mean, Saisons I'll never be like, I really love Saisons. I'll never be that, just because those sorts of beers, I'm not a big fan of. Like, you know, just like general farmhouse style ales. If I'm having something like that, I want it to have some interesting hops thrown in there. I want it to be fruited. I mean, I love a good like fruited sour, lambic, that sort of thing. But these sorts of beers like Saisons, farmhouse, Brett beers and things like that, they're just not for me. I completely respect and understand the tradition, the heritage, and I know how complex these beers can be, and how if something goes wrong, it rarely goes wrong when you're brewing this sort of beer. But yeah, it's just really, really nice, and it's gonna see me through for a good little while, I would say. And yeah, I would happily have this again. Does it taste and feel exactly like it used to? I don't know. Like I said, don't know if they've changed the recipe over time. Obviously, with it not being brewed directly at Brooklyn, you've got to take that into consideration. But it'd definitely get me interested if I saw an imported bottle of this from, you know, the States show up. I'd probably be more inclined to pick that up and give it a try. But I think it's great that beers like this are available at the supermarkets. And sometimes when you see these bolder beers appear on the supermarket shelves, you sort of think in the back of your head, that's probably going to be too intense for some people who are trying to dabble. You know, they're going from, you know, the craft macro staples to seeing beers that from breweries they've never heard of before, ideas that they've never really seen before. I think we can all, especially in the UK, a lot of us will have had that journey of picking beers up at the supermarkets that were new, exciting, a little bit different to what you usually pick up with your weekly shop. Who can do weekly shops anymore, by the way? But yeah, and sometimes you'd find, even like back in the day when Brewdog were doing it was in Tesco's, it was the extra special double IPA, I think, and that was a very intense double IPA, especially at the time. And I could imagine quite a few people drinking that thinking, what the fuck is this? So to have a saison, but then again, there's some interesting, you know, Belgian beers on the supermarket shelves that aren't too dissimilar in their genetic makeup and flavour profiles. But I definitely think it shows you how good the Sorachi Ace hop is. And again, you don't really see it pop up that much now. I think that paired with maybe a Sabro, Idaho 7 and a Citra, I don't have the technical or physical know-how, but I think that would make a really good IPA. But this is lovely. I'm enjoying that. So yeah, that was Sorachi Ace, Brooklyn Brewery, now available in Tesco's. Mental. There's a double IPA, and there's a Mexican style lager. Picked up the 3 beers that are available in my Tesco's. Not sure if others have got other variants, but I was really pleasantly surprised with the vast array of beers on the supermarket shelves now. And I'd like to think that that's helping people then go further afield and, you know, go for weekend trips to that part of the country to try that brewery, that bar, that pub, and then going to independent retailers. I think there's a real sort of good microcosm, if that's not the right word, but you know what I mean. So yeah, lovely stuff indeed. Definitely pick it up. I'm not sure if it was part of Tesco's like get 3 for 4 or 4 for 3, or if they were just standalone beers. I can't remember. I picked up about 8 beers while I was there last time, and the double IPA that they had, I've tried it. It was all right. I don't think there's much I could say about it to justify a review, but I am very intrigued to try the lager that's there, the Playa de Brooklyn, which is a lime lager. And I don't know, there's just something really satisfying about the Brooklyn logo as well. Great history, great heritage, that brewery, and one of the, you know, true pioneers of the American craft beer scene, and still going strong. And yeah, now a big international presence as well. And I can't say I've really had any sort of disappointing Brooklyn beers, even the ones that are brewed here in the UK and then throughout Europe. I just think they're a good, dependable, satisfying brewery, and they still bring out really interesting seasonals and specials, and the stuff that they've done with Brew Gooder has been quite nice, using like historical grains and things like that. It's just interesting, and yeah, lovely stuff. Anyway, I've waffled on way too long. Thank you for watching the video. If you tried it, let me know your thoughts, opinions down below. And yeah, links to Brooklyn in the description. I'd like to get some Brooklyn merch. I think that'd be good. Anyway, cheers for watching. You all take care, stay safe, and I shall see you later. Ta-ra!